Well, hello, Melanie in Trenton, Ontario, Isabel in Tucson, Arizona. We're two Canadian girls who have known each other for a number of years in business and in friendship. And I have this wonderful opportunity to chat with my friend today on Zoom and talk to her from the inside of a situation that has become a crisis in a lot of people's minds and sweeping the globe, the all too familiar topic of coronavirus or COVID-19. And my dear friend Melanie took herself on a vacation in February and got on board a cruise ship and went to Hawaii and came back with an extra unwanted passenger, and that was the coronavirus. Right? No, okay. So, Melanie, please, keep keep calm and chat on. Tell us.
Well, fortunately, I didn't come home with the coronavirus.
Oh, I meant the ship, not you. Yeah,
that's right. Unfortunately, some of the people on board the Grand Princess got the virus. Mm-hmm. So we all got quarantined into our rooms. So that's been an experience, to say the least. Here I am thinking I'm going on a nice, relaxing 2-week vacation that's long overdue. And now I have an extra 2-week vacation that I wasn't expecting to have in quarantine. But, for all of it, I understand why they've done it. It's for the safety of everybody. But from the outside looking in, I just want people to hear it from my side, because everybody's hearing what's going on in the speculation, in the fear, and the hysteria, and everything else that's going on out there in the news waves. But they're not really hearing from people that are on the inside that are experiencing it, because there's a much smaller population of us that are on the inside looking out. So I'm one of 237 passengers, Canadian passengers, that are quarantined here at CFB Trenton in Ontario. And we've been here since March 3rd. We were very fortunate to be some of the first people off the ship when it was finally allowed to come into dock in San Francisco on March 2nd. So that was great. Yeah.
Well, you really have been having an adventure, Mel, and I'm really grateful that you are willing to share factual, inside, unembellished or agendized, is that a word? Information, and to show everyone that it's manageable if you have the right mindset.
Yeah.
And that you have a lot of support around you with different agencies and government departments, and that you and your fellow passengers are keeping many, many millions of people safe, because you're inside until you all get a clean bill of health after 14 days, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. It's really, in the beginning, you kind of think, is this really happening? And I think that may be why it took so long for the various different government agencies to take action. Because, we hear about it over in China. We hear about it on the Diamond Princess, but nobody thinks it's going to touch us. Right. So it's like, it's over there. It's not going to come here. We're not going to get it. It's on the other side of the world. But I think it's really important that, although maybe it took a little bit longer for all governments to get on board, it's really important that they're all on board now, and they're taking all of the precautionary methods to keep everybody safe. People are thinking probably that these are really drastic measures, keeping people in their homes, if you're But you know what? They are what's needed right now. They're what's needed right now.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, it's short-term inconvenience for long-term security and health, uh, personally and economically, right? If we
Yeah.
get a lid on this quickly in the beginning,
Yeah.
there'll be a lot less collateral damage from this.
Well, it goes along with that saying, right? I mean, how many years have we heard short-term pain for long-term gain?
Right.
You said it in different words, but it's the same. It's the same
Yeah.
thing, right? It's, you know what, for a little bit of time,
Mhm.
people are going to be inconvenienced.
Right.
But over the long run, there's going to be a lot of people saved because of it.
Well, thank you for that. I have to guess that there are a lot of people that are really probably haven't thought about what it would be like to be forcibly in quarantine and how that affects lives. And others are curious to know what's it like? I mean, you're kind of in solitary confinement.
Kind of, truly on board ship, we certainly were.
Right.
We were asked not to leave our cabins whatsoever until the end of the cruise. So that happened. We were asked to go in our cabins on the Thursday. We were originally supposed to dock on the Saturday, and then we ended up not getting off the ship until the Monday. Right. So the only contact we had with anybody is when the crew knocked on our door and left a tray of food at our door. But that was it. Other than that, we were not allowed out of our cabins. So now we're in Trenton, and we are asked to stay in our rooms. Mm-hmm. Other than the 1 hour a day, like 1 hour 4 times a day, that we have the opportunity to go outside. And we're being housed in 3 different buildings right now. So each of the different buildings gets 1 hour 4 times a day that we can go outside. And so what they're asking is that people don't, if it's not your building time, please don't go outside. And they're asking for people to stay the social distancing. So they're asking for people to stay at least 6 feet away from each other. We always have to have a mask on. If somebody knocks at our door, we have to have a mask on. So we are in pretty much complete isolation. Now, it's something to get used to, but it's about your mental attitude, right?
Well, I love, because a lot of people are, with much less restrictive circumstances, but we're hearing constantly about people that are being told to work from home, work remotely, schools are closing everywhere, businesses, movie theaters, restaurants, etc.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of the test for us. You have had multiple days, I guess almost, it's over a week now, right? Of learning best practices, shall we say, how to keep your wits about you and keep your sunny disposition. So Mel, I'm just referring, like, Melanie wrote a chapter in the book that I published last year called Who Am I Now? Feminine Wisdom, Unmasked and Uncensored. And her chapter was entitled Emotional Tsunami. And the subtext of that was what to do when life swamps you with an emotional tsunami. And there certainly seems to be some irony in the situation for me now. And just to further explain that, the whole chapter, Mel shares really generously about her experience and journey through mental wellness, through some really, like you were swamped several times with emotional circumstances in your personal life. Mm-hmm. It was through sharing that generous wisdom that you've helped a lot of other people, and you've gone on to speak now on stages about your journey to thrival.
Mm-hmm, that's correct.
And how you've employed gratitude and other mindset techniques to get you through that. So here we are. We have you off the water now, but there seems to be like this continuing theme in your life, girl. Captain Mel is sailing away on another adventure. What have you noticed and observed in this experience, this adventure, and how did you keep your wits about you?
Well, as you know, fortunately, through the practice of my mind work and meditation, I have over the years been able to hang on to a positive attitude towards life. I believe that I'm on a journey. I believe that I wrote my journey before I got here. So, so I'm just I'm trusting that every step that I'm taking right now is exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. So, of course, the question went through my mind. Okay, well, why did I choose this cruise right now? What was it? How come I'm kind of in the middle of this? I remember my brother calling me and he said, we just kind of watch the news. And he says, then all of a sudden we realize that you're part of the news.
You're making the news.
He says, what the heck is going on here? He said, well, thanks for making the news more interesting.
Yeah.
But, it's really, for me, what has really been beneficial is connection. Staying in contact with my friends, with my family. My sister Kim has been an absolute rock for me. I mean, we'll get on the phone and we'll laugh about the goofiest things. And it's really the humor part of it that is getting me through it. It's really important for us to just stay lighthearted,
Right.
because the stress is only going to make it worse.
Exactly.
And the virus loves stress. So, you know what? I'm going to err on the side of laughter because I'm going to stay healthy.
Well, that's what my grandmother always said. Laughter's the best medicine. Right?
It is. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you and I know we talked the other day about also important in that healthy attitude through this is not criticizing and judging others. Excuse me. My furry four-legged office manager is jumping to the window.
See? Comic relief.
Yes.
Right? I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, like what's your thoughts on acceptance and cutting other people some slack?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer right now that it's really important that that we all kind of put down. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to close the window. You just keep chatting.
I think it's really important right now that we all put down our swords of judgment. We're all in this together. We're all in this together. And it's really important that we recognize that the best way to get through this is to love and support one another. There is nobody to blame for this. Princess Cruise Lines is not to blame for this.
Right.
They didn't, and they're getting the short end of the stick. In my opinion, they're getting the short end of the stick on this.
Right.
They've been, they were at the forefront of it. They were the ones that were making the changes on their cruise ships to make it safer for people to be on their ships. So I have high praise for how they handled it personally. That's my opinion. I have really high praise for them. And I think that people need to have an open heart towards them. And we also have to have an open heart towards each other through this whole process.
Absolutely. Towards each other.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people would add more stress and discomfort to others through this by hoarding groceries and toilet tissue. I don't know. I'm just beyond gobsmacked over that. And, making, making people nervous and constantly telling negative stories. And I believe in providing good factual information
Right.
that helps.
Right. Yeah.
But to always be looking for the scandalous or frightening part of the story is very disturbing to me.
Well, I've always been one of those people that looks, the cup is always half full. It's not half empty.
Absolutely.
Right.
Especially
So
if it's a nice big wine cup.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
So I think what the unfortunate part about my observation of what's been happening is that people have gotten caught up in the fear and the hysteria.
Right.
So if people just breathe,
Mm-hmm.
just step back and breathe. My sister Kim is a HeartMath practitioner,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all about breathing through your heart.
Yes.
Okay. So it's really important that we stop when we find ourselves getting really anxious.
Right.
Just stop in that moment and take a deep breath in for 5 seconds and breathe through your heart. Breathe in through your heart, hold it for 5 seconds, and then breathe out through your heart for 5 seconds. And do that a few times. And you can do that multiple times a day. And it will allow your balance, you to come back into balance. And that's a really important piece right now because people's anxieties are going to be really high right now.
Absolutely, they are. Thank you. For those who don't know about HeartMath, yes, it's something really important to understand how much the heart controls. It's a large hormonal organ in our body, and that will help to calm the brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
To reset our thinking. Excellent technique. Thanks for
Absolutely.
Mel.
Yeah.
So, you've been kind of moved around, and I know you had a rather, let's say, a less than luxurious transport from the port to the base. And all of that has required you to be sleeping in different places and having to sort of improvise with your wardrobe. And although I know that you've been provided plenty of food, sometimes
Yes.
been what you're
too much food.
Yeah. So how are you coping with the physiological part of this, sleeping, and any tips for people who may be voluntarily isolating now?
Well, I have to tell you that even though my ride home was a little different, it was a once in a million opportunity. I flew home on a cargo plane. So it was pretty amazing flight home. And, it really makes you appreciate things so much more, but I was so grateful that the Canadian government made arrangements for us so quickly. They were there. They were on top of it. We were starting to get off the ship by 3:00 on Monday afternoon when we fully anticipated we'd be there until Thursday or Friday at least. So I am forever grateful for Global Affairs Canada because they took such great care of us and got us the heck out of there. And then the flight home, I mean, it was a bumpy flight home, but, and loud because it's just a big open space, but with chairs in place, like all of the seating was in place. But, and then we came into the base here and they took us into the hangar and everybody was so welcoming and so loving. And we're so glad you're home. And they made the whole process go so quickly and so smoothly. And then we got into our rooms and there was care packages here in our rooms. And the rooms are, they're not fancy, but they're basic and they're lovely and they're clean. And, the bed is a little hard for my liking, but that's okay. I got a bed. I'm not sleeping in a tent, and so it's about gratitude it's really about being so thankful. The Canadian Red Cross is doing such an amazing job. CFB Trenton is housing us and Canadian Red Cross is taking care of all of the logistics. So if we need clothes, because we're all on a cruise, right? We got flip-flops and shorts. Right. So they've been providing.
To go directly back to Eastern Canada winter, right?
No, that wasn't my vacation after my vacation that I had planned, but
Yeah.
it's all good though. But we've been so well taken care of. And anybody that's isolating at home, really, it's a great time to do some writing, some reading, some get purging those closets if you wanted to purge. It's a great time for connecting with your family and doing the things that you just haven't had time to do because you've been busy doing everything else. And it's also a great time to reconnect with your own soul.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's number one connection, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's about going inside and what is it that number one, what is it that I want to learn or take out of this experience? How am I going to come out the other side of this a better person than I did coming in? Right. And the other part of it is, take a look at some of the things that you may want to be doing. Some of the things that you just kind of put to the side, some great hobbies that you used to have, but you ran out of time to do them. Now you've got some time. Maybe research some of the charities that might need some help right now, that you could help from afar, that need your special gifts. It's a really good time for paying it forward.
Now, thank you so much, because it's so important to reinforce that importance of connectivity and community. And you're right. We all have different ways of being able to contribute.
Yeah.
And whether we're doing that within our own families or small networks or our community, the larger size. I just saw a really nice thing on Facebook about a seniors facility where, there's no visitors allowed anymore. And this man had a visitor outside the window so that they could make eye contact, talking to each other on the cell phone. So I think if we get creative around
absolutely
how we can do this, and oh my gosh, how about snail mail? We have time now. We can start writing letters to each other, right? Wouldn't that?
Isn't that cute? That'd be cute.
I'm also curious because as a woman traveled a lot in business like you have, knowing, what you have to bring along with you and be prepared on stuff. Has there been anything that you have missed in this new stage of your adventure that you thought, oh, gee, if I could just reach into my closet at home and get that?
No.
That's fantastic.
Oh, no, the nice thing was that we actually got to do some laundry. There's laundry facilities here. So I was able to get my laundry done. So that felt really good to be able to be back in, clean clothes, that was really cool. So, but as far as everything else, you really learn that you can live with a little, So I've been working for a long time now, purging. And you do one layer and then, another layer of the onion has to come off and another layer and another layer. And this is really a confirmation of how little we really need to thrive. We don't need a lot. I've got a suitcase and the only thing that I asked them for was a winter jacket. And that was the only extra thing that I got was a winter jacket and some socks. But other than that, I've been using everything that I took on the cruise.
Okay, now my cheeks are probably a little red because I think, I know I have excess everywhere around me. And you're right, this is an opportunity to really look at, why am I keeping all this stuff? Why don't I immediately turn it over where someone else might need it?
Absolutely. I mean, look at I read a really good piece on Facebook about how we need to support small businesses right now.
Yes.
Right. And one of the pieces was in your local communities, because those small businesses in their local communities are the ones that are some of the ones that are going to really suffer.
Yes.
And a great way to support them, restaurants, small stores and whatnot like that, a great way to support them right now is to buy gift certificates. buy gift certificates now.
Right. Right.
It will help with their cash flow over this period of time.
Yes.
And then go into the stores after, when we all come out of this on the other side, when we, when they let us start going back out and being in the public.
And
absolutely. And it's good. You know what? It's going to be sooner than later.
Yes.
It's going to be sooner than later. If everybody follows the guidelines that they're setting out right now, and everybody realizes the importance of it, we're going to get through this a lot quicker. So everybody has to stick together on following the guidelines. But I think that's a great way of doing it, is buying gift certificates. And the other thing that I saw that I thought was so beautiful is right now, those people that are in hourly wage jobs,
yes,
are others that are going to really suffer. The waitresses, the wait staff in all your restaurants and your bars and stuff like that. Give them a little extra tip right now, because those are the ones that are really suffering, because they may not have a little nest egg at home, or they may not have insurance that can cover them, if the restaurant has to shut down for a couple of weeks.
Thank you for bringing that up. And I had the opportunity to connect with that myself yesterday. And, I was doing my usual, I think, pretty generous tip. And then I thought, there's hardly anybody in this restaurant. And so I made sure that I augmented that, because it's going to really hit them, right? They are dependent on these tips. So,
but that's your big heart showing up. That's your connection. That's your connection with your heart.
Yeah.
Right? When you're connected with your heart, we think of other people as well as ourselves.
We can notice outside of us.
Right. Right. So this is an opportunity for everybody to really connect with their heart and realize that no man is an island. We can't do this alone.
Right.
We are all in this together, and we have to support each other. It'll make us stronger. Together, we're stronger.
Absolutely. Just think about the number of people who may be sitting around the dinner table tonight, actually having a conversation with each other, as opposed to being off at sporting events and after school activities, after work stuff. So let's do that. Mel, I'm really appreciative of you sharing so from your heart about this. And I'm going to post this on my social media today. And I'm going to ask people if there are other questions that they have, or maybe they have other ideas of how we can spread the love.
Okay.
Ease this difficult period for other people. If you're willing, maybe we could get together again another day and talk a little more about other aspects of this adventure of
I'd love to. I'm hey, you know where I am.
I do. All right. I can't say don't go anywhere, Mel.
Yeah, I would be delighted to do that. If I can be of service in any way, I'm happy to do that.
Thank you for that.
My pleasure.
So I will if you have any last words, Mel, I would love for you to share.
Just really, everybody, I would just say to you, just really spread the love, because love is what's going to get us through this.
All right.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you.
Thank you. So Isabel Banerjee, the Encore Catalyst, sitting here in Tucson with my trusty office manager, Raj Kumar, the ragdoll cat who's been jumping up and down off the windowsill, and temporarily domiciled in Trenton, Ontario, my dear friend and inspiration, Melanie Sibbitt, two crazy ladies, and inspiration around emotional tsunami rescues. All right. To all of you, we'll be back and think about what you can do to spread the love. Bye for now.